When am I going to get into this intro stuff for the vlogs, eh? I'm literally just walking into the gym now and I'm like, oh shit, I should do an intro. So that's what I'm doing. Today I'm meeting up for my powerlifting buddy, Rose. Rose typically doesn't like bodybuilding workouts. She just finds that the high rep stuff is too stressful, and she doesn't really like to sort of like chase the pump and stuff like that. Prefers to like focus on absolute strength, which is fine. But today I'm going to put her through one of my power building routines just to see if she's kind of like changed her mind though. Because one thing I would say about a power building routine is it's definitely not as intense in that way as a bodybuilding routine. So she might find that she actually quite enjoys this session today. So just getting started with some warm-ups, nice and easy, 50 kilos. You'll see Rose is obviously a powerlifter. She only trains for powerlifting, so you'll see that she's going really deep on the squats. And this is something that I get asked quite a lot, is that if you need to go below parallel in order to get a good squat. Personally and biomechanically, if you want to build your glutes and your legs, it's a really good idea to go below parallel. Where I've been focusing on power building, bodybuilding, which is slightly higher reps, I don't need to go as low now, so I go just below parallel, which is going to engage those side glutes. So as the weights start to go up, I always like to put my belt on, even if I don't feel like I really need it, but just to make sure that I'm not injuring myself. And wrist wraps have also been a game changer when it comes to squatting heavy as well. So here we're just working up to a top single set, so I'm just going to do 90 kilos here for a quick double. Now, funnily enough, Rose actually used to be a client of mine, so I can never help, when we train together, I can never help watching her like I'm still her PT, as you can see here, and just giving that feedback where I can. And now that I'm going in with those heavier weights, I'm using my creatine. This is a bit of a psychological thing for me. But yeah, when it starts to get heavy, I always like to take a scoop of creatine. Ideally, you want to put that in close to the beginning of the workout, so this is absolutely fine. And as usual, you can use my code, save 40% if you want to get yourself some supplements from Reflex. So here Rose is going in for a 100 kilo squat. She was a little bit nervous about it, but okay, so something really exciting has happened. Rose has had a bit of a mental block when it comes to anything above 100, and she's just managed to squat 100 for the first time. Arguably, it could have been a little bit deeper, but when it comes to powerlifting, a lot of it is just about being confident with that sort of weight on your back. So now that she knows that she can move it, it's just going to be a case of like trying to get a little bit lower on the squat. But moving on to a really nice new piece of equipment that we've got at King's Gym. So as soon as I saw it, I walked into the gym that day, I saw the safety bar, and I was like, okay, well, that's my workout change then. So yeah, here we're just incorporating some safety bar squats. As you can see, it's almost more like a sort of front squat, high bar squat positioning. So this one really does engage the front of the legs. A really humbling piece of equipment, because as you can see, I've only got 20 kilos on here. It's a 30 kilo bar, and honestly, those felt so heavy. And it's a really funny thing, because actually when you take it off the rack, it feels absolutely fine. But for some reason, just because of the change in the distribution of the weight, it feels so much harder than a regular back squat. So safety bar squats are excellent for adding a little bit more volume, especially if you do have issues with your wrists or your elbows. Safety bar squats are a really good way to sort of like get that extra volume in without taxing those muscles, so it doesn't take away from any of your bench or your pressing movements. No leg and glute day is going to be complete without some hip thrusts. So this is a movement that I didn't do much of during my powerlifting days. So now that I'm doing the power building routine, I do like to make sure I'm incorporating some hip thrusts. For me, there's nothing like hip thrust for building up your glutes. Some people in the industry would disagree, but for me they are a firm favourite when it comes to building up the glutes. So here we're just going for a moderate weight. We're going for a few more reps than usual. We're not so much focusing on building strength. We are now looking to build hypertrophy, so we're going for that slightly higher rep range. So here we're going for sets of 10 to 12. Not gonna lie, I'm starting to feel it, so I'm just here taking a little break while Rose is still doing the work. We're just going in, we're doing some Bulgarian split squats. This variation is definitely focusing on the quads more. So if you take a larger step forward, then you're going to be hitting the hamstrings and glutes more. But since we are focusing more on quads and glutes on this day, I've taken a narrower stance, so my front foot is closer to the bench, which allows me to hit the quad more so than the hamstring. Of course the hamstring is still getting hit, but the quad is getting a lot of attention here as the front knee is tracking over the toes. Okay. Alright, so me and Rose are both completely fried now. I'm going to do a little bro thing that I've seen before, and we're literally going to finish off the workout. The last exercise is RDLs. In fact, it's the second to last exercise, but because of the amount of safety bar stuff we did today, we figured we don't need to do the last one, which was calf raises. But anyway, so we're going to do RDLs today. Rather than doing a set, rest, and then a set, as soon as I finish my set, Rose is going to do her set. It's almost going to feel like a super set because it's going to be like a minimal rest period, 30, 45 seconds in between. So yeah. I always used to think of RDLs more as a hamstring exercise, and of course they are, but actually the pump that I get on my glutes from doing RDLs, even though I don't necessarily feel my glutes burning, I always notice that I get a really good pump from doing RDLs on the glutes. As well as making you feel good at the time, the pump is a really good indicator that you're getting all the metabolites that you need to those muscles. So when we chase the pump, we're not just doing it for a temporary aesthetic purpose. It really is a good indicator that we are getting the metabolites to the muscles, which is going to lead to hypertrophy. So something that I commonly see when it comes to RDLs is lower back pain. So that can happen when we're hinging at the lower back more so than hinging at the hip. So as you can see, we're really sort of pushing the hips back. So we're really hinging at the hip. And then when it comes to lifting the weight, we're driving the hips into the bar, squeezing the glutes, keeping the core nice and tight, and not overextending the spine at the top. Usually when people are getting lower back pain, it's because they are not engaging the glutes and the core properly. So the spine isn't getting the support that it needs under the load, and so that can lead to lower back pain. And that is it. We are done. So I'm back. I'm about to tuck into my post-workout meal, which is just beef mince with cabbage and carrots with some white rice. I'm not sure which video is going to come out first, but there is a vlog coming up about my first week on a gut healing diet. So this is one of the meals from that eating plan, and the whole point of it is just having really sort of like plain foods, which is what this is, which is just a really plain dish but still hits the spot and is still macro friendly. So as we saw today, Rose really struggled with the power building routine, and to be honest, I struggled with it today because even though it's week 4, so I'm really used to this routine by now, we did switch up a few things. So for example, the safety bar squat, that's just a new piece of equipment, so I swapped out one of my exercises to do that instead. Usually I would do a squat pyramid, but today what we did is we worked up to a top set and then just did a couple of back off sets with the safety bar. And then on top of that, it was absolutely roasting in there today. And the heat just always makes you feel like you need to move a bit slower. Everything feels a little bit harder. So that was definitely the case today. And to round it all off, as I said, I'm on the first week of a gut healing diet where the calories are significantly lower than they have been for the past few months, which is why this is actually going to be my final week of doing this style of training. I'm now going to move more into a maintenance phase. So the next phase of my training is literally going to be doing as little as possible in order to maintain my muscle. So we're not going to be going to the sort of like RPE 9, 0 reps in reserve. We're going to be literally doing only what we need to be doing in order to keep the muscle there, because where the calories are quite a bit lower, we don't want to be sort of like going into that range where we're sort of like the heart rate's going up, we're even heavy, we're sweating more, and like burning more calories, because essentially all that will end up doing is elevating the stress hormones too much and pushing me into a more catabolic state, which we don't want. So we just focus on maintenance for now. So this is the very last session of my previous block, and I have already started the new block, so I'm kind of like transitioning this week. The program's actually really good, real sort of like nuts and bolts stuff, so just like nothing extra. So yeah, it should be good, and it's obviously going to be more in line with, you know, the sort of like diet and lifestyle things that I'm practicing more so at the moment. So that is the end of this little mini series. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've managed to find some good foundations as to how to sort of like incorporate these really common and very, very effective moves into your own routine. And of course, if there's any questions, then do let me know. I'm always more than happy to help. Make sure you stay tuned for the gut healing vlog, because as I said, I'm at the end of week 1 and it's going really well. And it's probably going to be quite a lot in there that's very relatable for quite a lot of people. So make sure you check that out, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.